Oh yeah, is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? Wow. So Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy dropped yesterday, and it was a lot better than I once thought it would be. But the main topic of discussion today is Clone Wars in live action, as Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor keep talking about wanting to come back to this Star Wars world as their characters of Anakin, Vader, Obi-Wan, you name it. Could we be getting, for real, live action Clone Wars content? We got a lot to get into today, as the Lando movie also has some news. Let's dive into all of it. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? What's up, chat? This is going to be a fun one today. I can already feel it, because this is truly...
This is where the fun begins.
I don't know. I just got a good feeling about today. The news feels good today. It feels like a good day to be a Star Wars fan, but when isn't it? When isn't it? All right, first things first, let's dive into the chat. Let's say hi to everybody first. What the heck? Why'd he go over there? Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I fixed it. Okay. The Mike J Show. What's up, Mike J? How we doing? Brandon, what is up? Skywalker Academy, how we doing? Navarro in the house. Fearless, what's up? Fearless with the 6-month badge. Nice. Amanda United, what is up? Agnes, how we doing? Amanda, how we doing? Starchip 66, what is up? Thomas, how we doing? Anakin, what's up? King Shadow, how we doing? Entertainment Fan, what is up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. James, how we doing? Let's just give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so yes, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy came out yesterday. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll break it all down a little bit today in the live stream. But the main sort of topic today is Obi-Wan Kenobi coming back? Is Anakin and Vader coming back? Are Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor just spouting out that they want to come back, or is this really happening? And how? Clone Wars live action, Kenobi season 2, or something crazier? We'll get to all of it. I'm sure we will. But first things first, let's put up a poll in the chat, shall we? So I'm going to end this poll that's already up, because if you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Smash a freaking like on the stream. Okay, let's put up a poll. Okay. Mystic Troll, what's up? Do you want Clone Wars in live action? Yes or no? This has been a topic of conversation for months, no, years and years now, where Star Wars fans have been begging, some Star Wars fans have been begging for live action Clone Wars content. I've always been on the side of absolutely not. I don't want to see the same story told over and over again just in live action, because the animated show did it so well. We talked about this last stream with Obi-Wan versus Maul from Rebels, the Twin Sons episode, one of the greatest episodes in television ever, even though it's animated. I don't want to see that just brought into live action just for the hell of it. It already exists. I want a new story rather than just regurgitating the same story over and over again. So the topic today is sort of on that fence. Do we want just the same stories told over and over again in live action instead of the Clone Wars ones? Or, like we were talking about in the Discord earlier today or last night, is there Clone Wars arcs that are unfinished? By the way, there's a ton of them. Are there Clone Wars arcs that are unfinished that could be finished and brought into live action with Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor as their iconic roles as Anakin and Obi-Wan? But let's talk about this. This is an article I want to get to from Forbes magazine. Do magazines exist anymore, chat? Somebody tell me in the chat. Do magazines exist? I don't know. But Forbes writes this great article about why they should do Clone Wars in live action already. So we're going to read that. But first, I saw a super chat come through here. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $2 holla. God damn. I appreciate it. Starting the stream off right. Says, did you watch Rebuild the Galaxy and did you like it? Okay. I did watch Rebuild the Galaxy. I watched it yesterday. And I did like it. I liked it actually a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. It's just Lego Star Wars. It's not canon, obviously. It's rebuilding the galaxy. It's Star Wars what if, almost, to an extent. You got Darth Jar Jar in there. You got Jedi Palpatine in there. You got Lando, Maul, Lando, a Maul bounty hunter, Lando, whatever. You got the Landalorian. Is it Landalorian or Landolorian? You got a lot of cool what ifs in there. The story was fun between Sig and his brother Dev. We'll break it all down in a little bit after we get through this Ewan and Hayden news. But did I like it? Yes, I did. I liked it quite a bit, actually. Do I think it's going to change anything in Star Wars? No. But it was a lot of fun, and it actually might get a sequel. Okay, but we'll talk about that later. Fearless with the 6-month membership. I appreciate that, Fearless. 6 months is crazy. And Thomas with the 1-month membership. Not as crazy, but still crazy, Thomas. I appreciate it. Okay, let's read this, shall we? Shall we? Why is this text so big? That's what she said. Okay. Let's pull this up. Boom. Got it. Okay. Disney, just do Star Wars: The Clone Wars in live action with Ewan and Hayden. So before we even read this article, I'm going to come out on my side right now and say no. No. I don't want this. Unless it's something new from the Clone Wars era, I don't want the same story over and over again. But tell me in the comments if you do. Okay, let's read this. It's clear that best friends Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are itching to get back to Star Wars. Here's Hayden Christensen speaking with Variety about his return. If it means that I got to do more with Ewan, that's a no-brainer. But I really hope that he continues with the character. So he's saying that even if he's not involved with the story, Vader, Anakin, Hayden at all, then he still wants to see Ewan's character of Obi-Wan Kenobi continue without him. This would be in a Kenobi Season 2, because most likely Vader wouldn't be that involved in Kenobi Season 2, as they're not supposed to meet another time before A New Hope. So Vader wouldn't be that involved in a Kenobi Season 2. He could be maybe a little bit involved, but he probably wouldn't be. So that's why he's saying he really hopes that Obi-Wan will continue even if Hayden doesn't get to. And as for continuing the character, here's Ewan McGregor's standpoint. I really do hope we get a chance to do another one between where we ended off in the series and when Alec Guinness comes on screen with Luke Skywalker. I think there are a few stories in there to tell in there. A few stories is the key thing here. Not just one, a few. Which means multiple more seasons of Kenobi, which would be insane. But he does mention where they end off in the series and when Alec Guinness shows up in A New Hope. So that would be in between Obi-Wan Season 1 and A New Hope, the original trilogy. That would not be Clone Wars live action. But let's keep reading. However, I want to pull the handbrakes there, as I don't think that making more stories that take place after Obi-Wan Kenobi and before A New Hope is a good idea. Obi-Wan Kenobi was fine, but not amazing, and jammed in more stories there that would create some level of stretching, of a stretch to find something valuable and get Hayden back in there somehow without being under a Vader helmet the whole time. So they're just saying if you're going to do a Kenobi Season 2, it might just be that you're pushing it too far. You're trying too hard to bring these two characters back in a story that's not worth telling. We talked about this for weeks now, about the possibility of a Kenobi Season 2 and how there's not really enough story there. Now, I will say, last stream, we came up with quite the story for Kenobi Season 2 and a possible Kenobi Season 3 with Obi-Wan going on the same journey that Yoda did in Clone Wars Season 6, where he learns to become a Force Ghost, training with Qui-Gon, maybe having to leave the planet to go train with Yoda on Dagobah, going into the same cave that Luke went into on Dagobah, and fighting against Vader again on Dagobah in a Force vision, and that sounds awesome! But the likelihood of that happening, I would guess, is very little. So I wouldn't hold your hopes too high on seeing a Kenobi Season 2. However, with the thought that Ewan and Hayden still want to come back and reprise these characters' roles, there are other spots to do that. So let's keep reading. Okay. So just do live action Clone Wars. At this point, who cares? Just let them do it. This feels like this feels like this is where everything is leading anyway, with Dave Filoni porting as many characters from that and Rebels as he can into live action. Of course, the Rebels crew and Ahsoka Tano. So this seems to be a potential good project. That's especially true because Disney seems allergic to truly original ideas outside the Skywalker era, and, well, Anakin Skywalker is more Skywalker. So this last point here is that Disney seems allergic to true ideas outside of the Skywalker era. That's clearly not true. It's more so the fandom. But Anakin Skywalker is, of course, a Skywalker. Is that the end? Oh, here we go. No. They would not have to relive the entire series, which ran from 2008 and had its final season in 2020, but there was a giant gap in there. It was only 7 seasons. And spans close to 150 episodes. That's awesome. Clone Wars is underrated. But there are certainly a number of hugely memorable arcs in there that could be adapted for TV, and there's a reason Star Wars fans love this show, because it's good, and one aspect of that is because it presents a more dimensional version of Anakin that we never got to see in the films. So many people's complaints with the prequel trilogy is that Anakin's fall is too quick. From episode 1 to episode 2 to episode 3, it just happens like that, and I completely disagree with that. I mean, from losing Qui-Gon in The Phantom Menace to his mom in Attack of the Clones to the threat of losing his wife in Revenge of the Sith, all leading sort of just a snowball effect to when he falls to the dark side. It makes sense just in the movie format, but 7 seasons of the Clone Wars doesn't hurt. It actually helps drastically with a lot of fans' experience with the character of Anakin Skywalker. And that's why fans really loved the show. Not just because it was cool action in the Clone Wars and a lot of cool stories, but it was also developing specifically Anakin's character a lot more, and to show that fall to the dark side. We have already seen this once in live action, briefly with the Clone Wars era Anakin appearing in Ahsoka. So this was a massive hit. If you guys remember a year ago, 2 days ago, so a year ago, almost a year ago today, but a few days off. A year ago, Ahsoka dropped episode 5, where we got to see Hayden back on screen as Anakin Skywalker, but we also got to see him in a Clone Wars flashback, as we got to see a young Ahsoka Tano played by Ariana Greenblatt, and we got to see Hayden Christensen in the iconic Clone Wars armor of Anakin Skywalker. So that really blew the doors off in the Star Wars fandom. Everybody loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a huge hit. They actually even released the freaking episode into movie theaters. Because they knew it was going to be that big of a hit. Clone Wars in live action. Lucasfilm knows that they have this massive thing with the Clone Wars, and when they bring it into live action, fans are going to come flocking to it. Keep that in mind. I did catch out of the corner of my eye that we have a super chat. James with a very generous $5 holla says, just give me Ewan, Hayden, and Filoni together. I don't care what the story is. I appreciate that quite a bit, James. That's very, very generous. I care. I mean, if the story sucks, then it's not going to be good. I understand that, obviously, with Filoni writing it, it's probably not going to suck. But where would you want to see that story take place? There's different eras where we could see it take place. That's the big question here. Where would it take place? I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really, really do. Okay, let's keep reading. I bit my cheek like 10 seconds ago, and it really is pissing me off. Okay. Just thought I'd let you guys know that. Okay. Appeared in Ahsoka, who is rendered in Clone Wars era age. Jesus Christ, that's a pain in my ass. Okay, in Clone Wars era's age, in what was the most popular episode of the first season of the show. This is the what's that planet? Son of a nutcracker. I forget. And that leads to this idea that, yes, all of those pieces are already in place. We've already seen Hayden in live action in the Clone Wars. We've already seen Ahsoka in live action in the Clone Wars. Now we're just waiting for Ewan. And there might have been a reason that we didn't see Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Ahsoka series. Past that, you already have the co-star of the series, young Ahsoka, who can clearly still be played by the talented Ariana Greenblatt, who played her in that one episode. She's 17 now, around the perfect age for that part. You also have Tamara Morrison, who plays Rex, who can around to play Rex and other clones, as they are definitely not having him do another season of the Book of Boba Fett. This is not true. This is just them speculating. There's always the possibility of Book of Boba Fett Season 2. I actually have heard even more rumors now that Book of Boba Fett Season 2 is more likely now than ever, but only time will tell with that. I wouldn't get your hopes too high to see a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay. Which he seems sad about, of course. Tamara Morrison has been very vocal about his time with the character, but this would be a killer role for him. Getting to see Tamara Morrison play Rex again, or I say again because he does voice Rex in Ahsoka, but get to see Rex like actually play a role in a live action series would be pretty damn cool. I know a lot of fans want to see him as an older version of Rex in the Mandoverse, and that still technically is on the table. But I think if they're going to go back to the Clone Wars, this is more likely. Again, it seems beyond easy to lay the pieces for this. A question for Disney would be budget, as they are allergic to figuring out. They keep saying allergic to things, but they're just not. Allergic to figuring out how to do shows like this for anything less than $150 million a season, it seems. But Ewan and Hayden back as the young and with the young Ahsoka, recreating some of the most beloved arcs in Star Wars history, that would be huge. Just let them do it. So, with that being said, do you think they should? Do you think they should go back, rehash already told stories in a Clone Wars live action season? Maybe take the best stories that they deem to be the best stories, or arcs, I should say, and bring them into live action? What do we think, Chad? What do we think? Absolutely not. We need new stories. New content only, please. No retelling. I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. I don't want this. Now, going back and telling Clone Wars stories in a show like Ahsoka, they did that perfectly. Yes, we've seen the Siege of Mandalore. We've seen Ryloth. That was the plan I was looking for. Ryloth, the Battle of Ryloth. We've seen those arcs before, but this is a different telling of those arcs, and it's for the purpose of Ahsoka in the future, not for Ahsoka in the past. So going back and rehashing a story wouldn't make any sense to me and would just honestly be pointless. Absolutely pointless. So if you do have new arcs from the Clone Wars, which is definitely possible, it's 100% possible that there could be unused arcs or important arcs from the Clone Wars that could be brought into live action that are new, then yes, do that. Absolutely do that. But I don't think that's the case. And now, this brings me to my huge idea. Ewan and Hayden want to come back? Let them. But not in a Clone Wars live action show. No. In something bigger. Something greater. Something that no one would expect. Now, I'm just going to leave you guys on a cliffhanger right there because we just got another super chat. So I'm just going to leave it right there for a second. Leave you wondering, okay? Okay. Tony with a very generous $5 holla. God damn! Tony! I appreciate it. Says, wanted to tell you that I really appreciate the positivity on your channel. I appreciate that. Says, we can just truly enjoy Star Wars and not with all the other drama. Thanks. No, Tony, thank you. Okay? Yes, I host the show, but that doesn't mean a single freaking thing. If you guys didn't show up, this would be nothing. If you guys weren't so positive yourselves, this would be a war zone, like all other places on the internet. So thank yourselves. Pat yourselves on the back. I do absolutely nothing up here except yell at a freaking camera screen. But yeah, so thank yourselves. You know? Thank yourselves. But I do appreciate it. I really, really do. Okay. Where was I? John, what's up, says, John has entered the chat and subscribed. How has this channel not shown up for me before, given how much I am into Star Wars? You know what, John? I don't know. But let's yell at everybody, shall we? Hey, YouTube! Let's push out the channel a little bit, huh? John was trying to look for me for all these years, and he hasn't found me. What's up with that? Huh? Huh? What's up with it? My boy John, who graciously subscribed, graciously is in the chat today, was looking for me for a long time. Get on it, YouTube. Get on it. I appreciate it, John. I really do. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. All right. Sorry. Sometimes I get a little excited. My mic is crooked, and I'm not happy about it. Okay. Where was I? I completely lost my spot. Okay. Kay says, there's so many other Star Wars stories to tell. Why waste money on stories that have already been told? Agreed. The Star Wars galaxy is this massive, massive universe of untold stories. We've only told stories for about 60 to 70 years of that timeline. There is 25,000 years of stories before The Phantom Menace. There's an infinite amount of stories, infinite amount of years after the sequel trilogy to tell stories, with an infinite amount of characters, brand new, old, whatever you want to call them, legacy, legends, or brand new. So why go rehash a Clone Wars arc that was really, really cool because it already freaking exists instead of going to write something new? Because you can go back to the Clone Wars. Ahsoka proved that you can go back to the Clone Wars in live action in a way that furthers the story that you're already telling. So I can almost guarantee you that Ahsoka Season 1 is not the last time we'll be seeing the Clone Wars. Absolutely not the last time we'll be seeing the Clone Wars in live action. There's just no way. It was so popular. It was such a massive success with Hayden in the Clone Wars armor, with Ariana Greenblatt as young Ahsoka, Captain Rex on the Siege of Mandalore. I can pretty much guarantee that we will see it again. I feel as though they left Ewan McGregor, or Obi-Wan I should say, but Ewan McGregor as live-action Clone Wars Obi-Wan, for a reason. They're going to come back. It will come back. By the way, yes, chat, it's true. I have ears. I know, right? Crazy. Yeah. Lowdown says, yes, Clone Wars in live action with young actor as Ahsoka. Interesting. D. Breen, how we doing? What is up? Haga says, Clone Wars arcs are fine for flashbacks like in Ahsoka, but different stories, please. Lucasfilm, we know you're watching. Lucasfilm, if you're watching, and we know that you are, new stories. New stories, you can come back to the old, but new stories. Yeah, absolutely. Kenobi's relationship with the Duchess, but the thing is, that relationship already exists. Satine and Kenobi, their story's already been told in the Clone Wars. Now, the best spot to tell more of that sort of tiny story, because it's a small story. If you're going to go back and tell some more of the backstory between Obi-Wan and Satine, that's more of like a Tales of the Jedi type story. And that's an animation. If there's Tales of the Jedi Season 2 and one of the characters focused on is Obi-Wan Kenobi, there you go. Perfect. Go give us a 10, 15-minute episode of him and Satine. Why not? That'd be awesome. But it's not something that I want to see spend millions upon millions of dollars on to do in live action, you know? The Siege of Mandalore in live action would be awesome. But again, it's already awesome in animation. Yeah. Maybe they could just do 5 episodes over an hour each. I don't want to say it's a waste of money because it would be pretty cool just to see that in live action, but it would kind of be a waste of money because first of all, it wouldn't be easily explained. if you're just going to do random arcs in the Clone Wars, what are you going to title the show? Clone Wars in live action? Now you're already sort of neglecting part of your fandom. There's a lot of Star Wars fans out there, which might sound crazy, that haven't seen the Clone Wars. Give me a 1 into the chat if you haven't seen the Clone Wars today. If I see a single one in this chat, I'm going to lose my shit. Because why the hell would you be watching my stupid ass face on a screen when you could be watching the Clone Wars? A lot of normie fans, for lack of a better word, normie fans, they haven't seen the Clone Wars. They don't know what they're missing, but they haven't seen the Clone Wars. So it wouldn't really make sense to do, honestly. Ahsoka did it perfectly because if you haven't seen the Clone Wars and you see that Clone Wars flashback, you still understand that it's Ahsoka and her former master. That's explained directly in the show. So it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. Yeah. Anakin, what's up? The Clone Wars is still not my favorite as a whole. It is good, but in my opinion, it's not the best. It's not my favorite animated Star Wars show. No. It's my second favorite. What's everybody's favorite Star Wars animated show in the chat? What do we think? Do you know when you like bite your cheek and it like leaves like a, I don't even know, like a hurt bite mark, and then you keep continually biting it over and over and over again? That's what's happening to me right now. It's really pissing me off. Okay, but going back to the favorite animated Star Wars shows, for me it's Rebels. I think from start to finish, Rebels is just the best. It's only 4 seasons instead of 7. The Clone Wars has more story, and I actually think that the Clone Wars has better arcs than Rebels. However, it's the stuff in between. The Clone Wars has so much filler. I hate the word filler. Filler, for lack of a better word. It's not filler, but it is, you know. It's sort of the mission of the week type deal. And Rebels starts with that in season 1 just to establish the characters, but then season 2, 3, and 4 are all just bangers, you know? Yeah. Yeah. My brother got the game Star Wars Outlaws. Let's go. Star Wars Outlaws is very good. It's coming from a guy who had 0 problems with the game, because I know a lot of people lost their saves or they were like breaking the game over and over again. I didn't have any of that, so I had a lot more fun with the game. I thought the story was fantastic. It's a cool new story in the Star Wars timeline, in the cool new spot, in the same old spot, but a cool different look at that spot in the Star Wars timeline in between episode 5 and 6. I thought it was great. Officer Murdoch, what's up? Says I still have to watch Rebuild the Galaxy episode 3 and 4. Therefore, I say bye for now. Have fun. I appreciate it, Officer Murdoch. Yeah, go enjoy those 2 episodes. They're really, really good. Yeah. Yeah. Lowdown says, Anakin's fall was good, but I wish child Anakin was only at the beginning of episode 1. The movie should have had Hayden in the rest and most of the Phantom Menace. But then the Phantom Menace would just have a massive time jump in it. No? What are you talking about? Star Wars Episode 2.5, Attack of My Clones, featuring a young Moff Gideon. Oh my God. Connor, what's up? Says, back from Europe. Hope all is well. Happy I get to catch a live stream. I appreciate that, Connor. How the hell was Europe? That sounds awesome, and I'm pretty mad at you that you didn't invite me. Connor. Oh, Connor. I'm just not having it today. I spilt, like, spaghetti sauce on my... Grogu's got to go back down there. Actually, no. Now he's blocking my lightsaber. Grogu, where do you go? Block Darth Maul. That's better. Okay. Clone Wars in live action, awesome. Bring in Asajj Ventress. I think you can bring in Asajj Ventress into live action. It doesn't have to be in Clone Wars, but I would love to see it. I would absolutely love to see it. Imagine Asajj Ventress in like Ahsoka season 2, because Asajj and Ahsoka have had this crazy past from all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. But now she's back. She was in the Bad Batch season 3. Spoiler alert. She was in the Bad Batch season 3, and now she's back from the dead. Why not bring Asajj Ventress into live action? You didn't just bring her back from the dead for nothing. That'd be awesome. You know where would be a really cool spot to see Asajj Ventress? In Jedi 3. In the Cal Kestis games. So Jedi Fallen Order, of course, has the Inquisitors. Jedi Survivor has Inquisitors, but it also has references back to the High Republic. Imagine if Jedi 3, one of the main characters, was Asajj Ventress. That would be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Nope, new stories, please. I agree with that. Not a rehash of the Clone Wars arcs, but the best stories or different perspectives of the best stories. Well, a rehash of the best stories would still be a rehash of the best stories. But from a different perspective, now you're kind of speaking my language. Yeah, no? Because that's almost what Ahsoka was. From a different perspective. From a certain point of view. You know? John says, I think I just found a new community that I'm going to fit into quite well. I was 10 years old when I saw when the original came out in 1977, and I've been a huge fan of the franchise ever since. That's awesome, John. Welcome to the community. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. We talk Star Wars all day long. And yeah, so another thing, we will be doing call-ins later on in this stream, but becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. 99 cents at the lowest tier. We do giveaways at the end of every month. That's coming up. We're at the midway of this month, so we'll be getting a pretty big one at the end of the month. And super chats. I will do any Star Wars impression for a super chat of any amount, of course. But you guys know that. Okay. Saw Gerrera could show up. Saw Gerrera is most likely to show up in Andor Season 2 because he's in the freaking trailer. John says, I don't mind valid criticism. I have my own, but I don't hate any of Star Wars. Hate is such a strong emotion, and I've got better things to do. It's a great way to look at it, John. It's a great way to look at it. James says, so you do what... Wait, what? Oh, you're talking to somebody else in the chat. My fault. Okay. I hope Rex has his own seasons or movies. I don't think Rex will get his own seasons, but Rex showing up in live action in Ahsoka Season 2, I would say is a high likelihood. Yeah. Yeah. Jack Robbins, what's up?
Hello there.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who won't/don't watch animation. Yeah, that's a common thing. I think a lot of normie fans, I think a lot of people just in general, don't watch cartoons or animation because they just think of it as cartoons for kids. Not that the Clone Wars wasn't made for kids, but not that most cartoons aren't made for kids, but there's a lot of great cartoons out there. Like, I'm watching the Clone Wars right now, and it's still incredible storytelling, incredible story arcs. So to those people, I say, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're stupid, and you're dumb. And you're dumb, and you're stupid. But guess what? You have the chance to be smart. You have the chance to watch the Clone Wars for the first time ever. No, they're not dumb, but I would encourage them to watch it. Because once you get past the fact that it's a cartoon, it's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Joseph says, combining a live action Siege of Mandalore with episode 3 would be very cool, I think. That would be really cool. To make like a sort of supercut of the movie, that'd be pretty cool. I think somebody has online cut together the Siege of Mandalore arc from the Clone Wars and episode 3. And I believe it's somewhere out there on the interweb. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere. Yeah. I must say, guys, I'm not feeling my greatest today. So I'm going to blow my nose now. Okay? Okay. But let's celebrate while I do. Oh, yeah, we hit 80,000 subscribers today. Not today, sorry. This week. And this is still the same week, so we're still celebrating that. 80,000 subscribers is absolutely insane, and I appreciate every last one of you for it. Yeah, hang on, I need a sip of water here. I'm going to lose my voice already. And we're just getting started today. We're just getting started. Anakin says, listening to you while watching the Clone Wars, is there any better way to spend your Saturday? Can I ask, is there any better way to be spending your Saturday than having an awesome fun chat with this Star Wars community, with the people who love Star Wars, and watching the Clone Wars at the same time? God damn. I just came back from watching The Empire Strikes Back in theaters. Oh my God, that's epic. That's still one that I haven't been able to watch in theaters, and I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I love the Clone Wars, but Rebels is still my favorite. Absolutely agree. Could not agree more. Tales of the Jedi is your favorite? That's a good one. For sure. For sure. Okay, let's go back to my giant cliffhanger that I left you guys on, shall we? There's a better way to do this. There's a better way to bring Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back, who both want to come back to their characters of Obi-Wan and Anakin. There's a better way to do it. Holy shit.
This is where the fun begins.
Whew, I just had to sneeze. Sorry. There's a better way to do it. It's not live-action Clone Wars, and it might not even be Kenobi Season 2. I gotta sneeze again. Motherfucker. Wait. False alarm. Okay. Might not even be Kenobi Season 2. Yes, Kenobi Season 2 might work if you find the right story and you find possibly a Season 2. It's possible. But that might not be the way to go. There is another, as the great Yoda once said, and that would be Force Ghosts. Now, we saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost in Ahsoka Season 1. It's very highly likely that we'll be seeing him again in Ahsoka Season 2. Because they're on Peridia, and that's where we last saw Ahsoka, Huge Wang, and Sabine, but that's also the last time we saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost. The first time we saw Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost since 1983 in Return of the Jedi. Clearly, his Force Ghost is not around a lot. Clearly. We don't know why. It hasn't been explained yet. Maybe it's because he is the father on Mortis, but that hasn't been physically explained yet. Now, in comes Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor. If you do Kenobi Season 2, obviously Ewan will be Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Obi-Wan's also a Force Ghost. Obi-Wan Kenobi is also a Force Ghost. He's seen quite a bit in the original trilogy, but never after. As far as we're aware. Never after. Does he just stop helping Luke? Luke goes on to make his own Jedi temple. Does he just stop? Is he not just hanging out with his good pal Anakin anymore? Where does Obi-Wan's Force Ghost go? Why have we not seen him again? And could he show up again? Now, the big question is, would Ewan McGregor play a live-action Force Ghost of Obi-Wan? Obviously, in the original trilogy, it's Alec Guinness who plays the live-action version of the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan. So would fans be okay with seeing Ewan McGregor as the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan? Or would they not? So let's ask you guys. Chat, what do we think? If Obi-Wan's Force Ghost were to return in Star Wars at any point, for any reason, would you be okay with it being Ewan McGregor? Or not even okay, would you rather it be Ewan McGregor? What do we think, chat? Damn, that's some good water. Here's the thing for me. they would obviously have to make Ewan look as much like Alec as they could. But there's a reason they hired Ewan in the first place in The Phantom Menace. It's because his facial features look like Alec Guinness's. The older and older that Ewan gets, the more and more he begins to look like Alec Guinness did in the original trilogy. So it's not that impossible to believe that we could get a live-action Obi-Wan Force Ghost that is played by Ewan McGregor that looks so similar to Alec Guinness that fans would not be upset at all. So the reality is, Ewan wants to come back and play Obi-Wan. Hayden wants to come back and play Anakin and Vader. There's not just one solution to that problem, because it's not a problem at all. This is a gift. The gift is that these two amazing actors, amazing people, amazing fan-loved characters want to come back. It's a gift. And there is, I wouldn't say limitless possibilities. They are limited, but there are multiple possibilities to see them again. Not just a live-action Clone Wars. Not just a Kenobi Season 2. Because most likely, Hayden Christensen will be back in Ahsoka Season 2. And it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see Ewan McGregor play a live-action Force Ghost version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But, tell me what you think in the chat. Digital aging works. They could do digital aging with Ewan's face and maybe just alter him a little bit to look more like Alec. They have to combine the two characters at some point, because the Obi-Wan Kenobi show takes place 9 years before A New Hope. So in that gap between these two projects, in that gap, Obi-Wan has to go from looking like Ewan McGregor to looking like Alec Guinness. So even if they do a Kenobi Season 2, his hair is going to have to get whiter. He's going to have to look older because it's only 9 years in between those two projects. And in the Kenobi show, he's still got the long brownish hair that has to turn white at some point. So even if we do get a Kenobi Season 2 or more Ewan as Kenobi in that time period, then he'll have to look more and more like Alec every sort of appearance. Now, there's a fourth option, I guess. It's not that impossible, and that is Obi-Wan showing up in a different show. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Maybe Andor Season 2, but why would Cassian be on Tatooine? He could show up in something else, but live-action-wise, Andor Season 2 is the only one that takes place in that time period. So unless Cassian finds his way to Tatooine, then Obi-Wan's probably not going to be in that. It just seems like a no-brainer because you have the actors at the right age of Hayden and Ewan to play these roles more and more and more. So while you have them, might as well use them, because if the story's right, then it could be a massive success. But I don't know. By the way, 77% of you in the chat say you do want live-action Clone Wars. That's crazy to me. That is actually crazy to me, because I couldn't disagree more. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'll have it in other projects, like a flashback in Ahsoka, maybe a flashback in The Mandalorian, whatever it may be, but not an entire show. Now I'm going to put up a new poll in the chat. We're going to talk about Kenobi Season 2 again, because this is probably the most likely scenario when it comes to getting more Ewan, especially as Obi-Wan. Maybe not Hayden as Vader, because he wouldn't be as involved in a Season 2. But let's do this. Do you want Kenobi Season 2? Yes or no? What do we think? Jay, what's up? Jay Wonder in the house. How we doing? Okay, let me scroll back up here. Whoa. Okay, where was I? I love animation. It's almost better than live action. I think animation just has more time to tell a story. I don't know. What do we think, chat? Live action or animation for Star Wars? What do you like more, live action or animation? For me, it's live action, but I get why it's a close conversation, because animation has so many well-told stories. I mean, and a lot more of them 150 episodes almost of Clone Wars. Then you have 4 more seasons of Rebels, 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi. There's a lot of storytelling going on in animation, probably more if we did the math than live action. But with live action, you got the trilogies, you got the Mandalorian, you got so many great projects. It's a tough decision. It's a very tough decision, but I'd have to lean live action. If I were to get a new show, whatever it may be, and I had the choice of it being live action or animation, I'd be choosing live action. With certain exceptions. Like a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, where you're constrained, but you got some pretty big constraints of the fact that Carrie Fisher, of course, passed away. Harrison Ford is now in his 80s. Mark Hamill's in his 70s. Those are some constraints. You can't bring those characters back. So I would probably prefer that it would be an animated show rather than de-aging them and costing millions upon millions of dollars. But for the most part, if it's a new Star Wars project, I'd rather it be in live action than animation, if that makes sense. Holy crap, is this real? 91% of you guys do want a Kenobi Season 2. This is pretty wild because this was not the case a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, fans were like, Kenobi Season 2? What are we talking about here? But now, because of the love of Hayden, the love of Ewan, and them wanting to come back, the tides have changed pretty drastically. Yeah. Chris Reed says, and an original trilogy reboot. Chris, there's no way, absolutely no way that they're rebooting the original trilogy. I certainly hope till the end of my days that they will not do that. But I wouldn't say like never, but I certainly hope till the end of my days. I don't want to live through that. No. The original trilogy should remain untouched. Yeah. Mr. Revenge, what's up, says, oh, Mr. Revenge, I'm sorry to hear about that. You need my help? Hit me up, Mr. Revenge. Anything I can do to help out. Sorry to hear about that. John says, I won't lie about it. 11-year-old me loved the Star Wars holiday special when it aired. 55-year-old me can't sit through it in one sitting. So I can't imagine what my grandfather's thoughts were. Yeah, I mean, I've seen snippets of the holiday special. I've not been able to watch the entire thing. It is something special. So, yeah. James says, Tales of the Jedi is proof of how animation can rival live action. Yes, I wouldn't say rival. I would more so say help. Like, Tales of the Jedi is such a great story about Count Dooku, who really doesn't get that much screen time in the original, in the prequel trilogy, but he's such an intriguing character. And that tale, at least of Dooku, specifically helps drastically when you're watching Attack of the Clones or you're watching Revenge of the Sith and watching that character of Count Dooku. So it kind of helps the live action rather than rivaling it, you know? Not gonna lie, I dismissed the animated stuff for a long time, but finally gave it a watch, and I was shocked how good it was. And I'm the most mature 57-year-old you're ever gonna find. Or, sorry, immature. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I think, just neglect the Clone Wars and Rebels and all the animation, really, because they just see it as animation and don't really see it as Star Wars, if that makes sense. It's not just Star Wars, though. It's with everything else. Animation in Marvel, animation in anime, anything, really. Some of the best stories ever told come in animation. And some fans or some people in the world just miss out on those stories because they can't get past the fact that it's animated. It's crazy. Crazy. Angelina, what's up, says hello. Hello there. Do you think Keanu Reeves could play a great Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic game? Do I think Keanu Reeves could play a great Darth Revan? Yes. However, it would be an older version of the Darth Revan character later on in his life, as Keanu Reeves is 60. But if I were to get a new sort of Darth Revan movie or show, I would rather him be a younger actor than Keanu. Yeah. That's just the reality we live in. Nothing against Keanu. I'd love to see him as Revan. He could play an older version while somebody else plays a younger version. I'd be down for that. Yeah. I appreciate it, John. Thanks, I appreciate that. Appreciate it. The interweb, what's that? It's this intertwined web of things that some people can find something, you know? You know? Mystic Troll says, I'm listening to you while playing Old Republic Good Times. Okay. What's better? Hanging out in the chat, talking Star Wars while watching Clone Wars, or hanging out in the chat, talking Star Wars while playing Knights of the Old Republic? That's a tough one. Oh my God, Sonny with the very generous $10 holla. What's up, Sonny? How we doing? Says Mike. I've been screaming for a live-action Clone Wars to see Hauser and the Bad Batch in live action. Okay. Seeing the Bad Batch in live action would be pretty cool. I actually think that's still a possibility, though. And it doesn't mean you have to go back and recreate the Clone Wars in live action. You could have something new that involves the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch at the end of Season 3 look a lot older, of course. But they're not, like, out of the game. They could still come into a story. Now, whether that story is a flashback or not, that remains to be seen. But it is possible that the Bad Batch, even if they're really, really old, could make a live-action appearance in the Mandoverse or in Andor Season 2. Unlikely, but could be. Or anywhere else, really. I certainly hope we see a lot of those clones someday in live action. Probably not Hauser, because yes, he's a main clone, but he's not the main clone. He's not a Cody or a Rex or a Bad Batch member. But yeah, that I appreciate it, Sonny. That's very, very generous. Very, very generous. So I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Crap. Oh, get another beer. Okay, now you're drinking beers and watching me? Okay, what's better? Watching Clone Wars and watching me, playing Old Republic and watching me, or drinking beers and watching me? Oh my. Okay. You're about to put together a dresser now? Wish you could use the Force? That's unfortunate. Ewan could play Ahsoka's version of Obi-Wan since that is how she would remember him. Interesting. So Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, as it appears to Ahsoka, would appear to Ahsoka as she remembers him. This is interesting because the conversation of Force Ghosts isn't really talked about too much. What their abilities are and are not, and how they appear to people, and if they appear to everybody. When Luke Skywalker is staring off into the distance at the Force Ghosts on Endor of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, does Leia see them? No. When Ahsoka is looking off into the distance on Peridia, looking at the Force Ghost of Anakin Skywalker, does Sabine see him? No. She feels him, but she doesn't see him. So that begs the question. When Obi-Wan's Force Ghost appears to Luke on Hoth, if Han was there at the time, would he see him? Obviously, Yoda and Luke both see Obi-Wan on Dagobah, because that makes sense, but if somebody else was there, would they see him? Qui-Gon's ghost appears to Obi-Wan, but couldn't appear to Yoda. Is that because of the connection between Master and Apprentice? There's a lot of questions. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. There's a lot of questions when it comes to these Force Ghosts. So if Ahsoka was to see Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, would it be Ewan? This is pretty crazy. I like the question. That's a good one. That's a good one. Polly Paul, what's up? Hey, Mike, how much of the live did I miss? We're about 55 minutes in, so quite a bit. Yeah. John says, honestly, I think that Alec Guinness would be happy with the casting of Ewan McGregor playing a young Obi-Wan. Yeah, I mean, you can't really ever know, but yeah, that's true. Ewan McGregor now is 53. Sir Alec Guinness was 63 in 1977. At some point, if they want to keep going back to that well, they need to recast. However, I'm still more about news stories, but we've seen how that's gone. I don't think they'll ever recast. That's for damn sure. But Ewan's still 10 years younger than Alec Guinness was in A New Hope, meaning we're probably going to get a lot more story, hopefully get a lot more story with that character. I think it fully depends on the fandom, honestly, because I'm sure Lucasfilm is on the fence right now. Because Kenobi was kind of met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom, as most things are nowadays. But as Kenobi was met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom, because people liking Reva or not, or young Leia or not, or thinking it should have been a movie or not, or whatever, they're probably very hesitant to greenlight a second season of Kenobi, just because of the way that the first season was taken in. On the other hand, you have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen begging to come back, and fans loving those characters and those actors so much that they want them to come back. So I think the fandom actually has the power in their hands, yet again, to make this happen. If we want to see a Kenobi Season 2, if we want to see more Ewan and more Hayden, I think we have the power to do that. I think if Lucasfilm is listening, and we know that they are, look at the poll in the chat. It's 91% of people wanting to see a Kenobi Season 2. And yes, this is a small sort of microcosm of the Star Wars fandom, but there's a lot of Star Wars fans out there that really want to see these characters again. Even if it's not a Kenobi Season 2, just bring them back in some sort of way. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, I don't think the makeup group can handle making Ewan look like Alec a little more. What do you mean can't handle it? I think they could. What you talking about? Hold on, Keanu Reeves is 60? Yeah, I know, right? He doesn't look 60 at all, but yeah, he is. It's crazy. He looks great. I love live action, but you can do so much more in animation. That's true. You have the ability to tell more stories because it costs less and you can have longer seasons and all that other stuff. That is interesting. I don't know. I still lean live action more, but it's a good argument to be had. However, I want the story to be really good, not just Obi-Wan versus Vader fight fest. It didn't work in season 1, and I don't think it worked in season 1, but I don't think it'll work in season 2. Yeah, I think you can't have Obi-Wan fight Vader again in season 2, which becomes a massive issue. Because if you're going to bring back Hayden, you're going to bring back Ewan, fans want to see him fight. So how are you going to tell a story good enough without the two of them clashing sabers? We did come up with, of course, the theory of him going to Dagobah, having this Force vision of him fighting Vader, and that would be sort of the fight that happens while he's training. And it's just a Force vision, it's not reality. But he could even be transported to Mustafar fighting against Darth Vader instead of Anakin this time. It could be something really, really cool that would excite a lot of fans. And just some sort of Force vision type deal. I don't know. I really don't know how that would go over with the Star Wars fandom. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see though. Yeah. I love both, but animation is sometimes just better. Sometimes. I love the character of Obi-Wan. I do want a second season. There you go. I'll say this. I defended my love for the prequels when they came out against my peers, but that is a hill I'm willing to die on. Yeah, I think a lot of people who love the prequels would agree with you on that one. Obi-Wan Kenobi I want Obi-2 Kenobi. Okay. They tried to reboot the original trilogy. Wait. No, they didn't. No way. No, they did not. What about the Darth Vader movie with Darth Maul as the antagonist and completing the Crimson Dawn storyline left unfinished in Solo? After Maul's eventual defeat, he goes into exile, and that's where we see him on Malachor. There's a story there, for sure. What happens between Solo, where we see Darth Maul as the leader of the Crimson Dawn, going to train Kiara, and then when we see him in Rebels on Malachor 5 at the Sith Temple, there's definitely a big story there. He trains Kiara. She becomes the leader of the Crimson Dawn. The Crimson Dawn actually go away because they lose their leader, which was Maul. And eventually Kira, whatever the hell her name is, comes back as the leader. We see that in Outlaws. We see that in the comics. But the story of Maul has yet to be told. And that would be crazy if they made a Darth Vader movie or show that involved Maul being the main antagonist, because the Inquisitors and Vader would be hunting down Maul if they know he's alive. And they do know he's alive because in Rebels, when they come face to face with him on Malachor, they call him the Shadow or something like that. Is it the Shadow? Somebody in the chat, help me out. I believe it's the Shadow. But they know who he is. They don't know him as Maul, but they know who he is. So that would be pretty interesting. I'd love to see that. For sure. Nathan says, Mike, have you seen the documentary about the holiday special? It's great. A documentary about the holiday? No, I haven't. I have not. A live-action Clone Wars series would be cool, but I don't think they should do it. I agree. I agree with that. Actually, one of the coolest things that's been released on YouTube this year is some fan, I don't remember the channel's name. I apologize. I'd love to give him a shout-out, but I don't remember. They created the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith in the Clone Wars animation. It's incredible. It's beyond cool, but it's the exact opposite of what we're talking about today, turning live action into animation. And I think fans have the ability to do stuff like that. Fans can be the ones who change Clone Wars into live action or vice versa. And I don't think Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney needs to waste their money or spend all that money to do something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me do this. Okay. Let's read this. So we read part of Hayden Christensen wanting to come back and play Vader again, but this is more of that. So let's read this. So we talked about Ewan wanting to come back, possibly Kenobi Season 2, but let's talk about Hayden specifically, okay? Hayden Christensen. Star Wars' Hayden Christensen wants to return as Darth Vader, or wants to be Darth Vader again. Hayden Christensen, most known for his role as Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequel. Oh, hang on. Wait a second. Go full screen. I saw some hate for Hayden happening in comment sections recently, actually on this channel specifically, and it hurt, okay? The guy is a great actor. Not only did he do an incredible performance as Anakin Skywalker in the prequel trilogy, but he's done other stuff. Now, he didn't do much other stuff because the Star Wars movies got so much hate, the prequel trilogy that is, that he pretty much went out of acting for a while. Became a farmer, pretty much. But giving the guy crap for doing the job he was paid to do at an incredible rate, like doing it extremely well, is absolutely insane. So I understand that other actors get hate all the time. Ahmed Best in the prequel trilogy, Jake Lloyd in the prequel trilogy. More recently, Carrie Marie Tran as Rose Tico in The Last Jedi, John Boyega in the prequel sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley in the sequel trilogy. Even more recently, Moses Ingram as Reva in Kenobi. It's absolutely insane. You must be out of your stupid freaking head to be coming after actors for doing the job that they're paid to do. It's insane. In the fact that 22 years later, since Attack of the Clones has been released, there's still shitting on the incredible performance of Hayden Christensen is absolutely insane. Just that needed to be said, okay? You're shit talking actors online. Maybe you should look in the mirror and rethink your freaking life. Because you're a loser. Yeah. Okay. Just thought I'd let you guys know, okay? So if you think you're that person, if you're crapping on an actor for doing a performance, you're a loser. A loser. Too far. If anybody understands that reference, you get the cookie of the day, okay? Tell me in the chat if you understand that reference. Okay, let's keep reading this, shall we? Hayden Christensen, known for his role as Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, has played a key role in the franchise's recent expansion. He reprised the role as Darth Vader in Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and expressed interest in exploring the character further. As Lucasfilm develops new Star Wars stories, Christensen discussed his work with Ewan McGregor, known for portraying Obi-Wan Kenobi in the franchise, and his renewed commitment to Darth Vader. He also shared his enthusiasm for continued involvement with the franchise. Did anybody get my reference? No? That's okay. Hayden Christensen wants Darth Vader to return in Star Wars. This thing in my cheek is really pissing me off. Hang on.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Hayden Christensen wants to continue playing Darth Vader in future Star Wars projects. He played Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, later portrayed Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and will present Ewan McGregor with his Walk of Fame star. We watched this live on Thursday's live stream. That was a lot of fun. Getting to see those two together is always a fun deal. But Ewan, of course, getting the awesome award of getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is fantastic. But they talked even still there about the possibility of seeing more Obi-Wan and Anakin. Christensen expresses enthusiasm for more Star Wars projects, especially those involving Ewan McGregor, as he said this. If it means that I got to do more with Ewan, that's a no-brainer. We read this quote already, but there's more to it. But I really hope that he continues with that character. Just as a fan, I'm excited to get to see him play Obi-Wan. He's just so good at it, is what he added. So this is the big thing. He, of course, wants to play more Vader. He, of course, wants to be in Star Wars more. But he's perfectly fine with just watching Ewan continue to play the character of Obi-Wan because he's so damn good at it. Okay? Christensen recalls Ewan McGregor mentoring him in green screen acting. This is what he had to say. The first time I met Ewan was in Australia. I remember walking into the hair and makeup room, and he came over and gave me a big hug. Right away, I knew that I was standing in front of a friend. In a previous interview from last year with Entertainment Weekly's Dagobah Dispatch podcast, Christensen shared that his return to Obi-Wan and Ahsoka had definitely reignited the spark that in him to want to do more. So him coming back to play Vader / Anakin in Obi-Wan and in Ahsoka reinvigorated what he had, the flame that he had in him back in the early 2000s to play this character more often. So, he expressed interest in further exploring Darth Vader's story, saying, I would love to do more, and I would love to continue with Star Wars. And then, of course, it talks about the Hollywood Walk of Fame thing there. So let's talk about this for a second. We talked about Ewan. We talked about the possibility of seeing a Force ghost of Obi-Wan, which we haven't seen since the original trilogy. And we talked about Kenobi Season 2. We talked about live-action Clone Wars. But let's talk about Anakin, Vader, for a second. Shall we? There is so many possibilities when it comes to Darth Vader and Anakin reappearing in Star Wars again. Not only in a live-action Clone Wars or a Kenobi Season 2 or as a Force Ghost in Ahsoka Season 2, there is a possibility, and Star Wars fans have been begging for it for years, of a Vader show or a Vader movie or a Vader trilogy, whatever you want. A Vader show is probably the most likely. But there is so many stories of Vader that have been told in comics or haven't been told yet in between the time of the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, where we could see Vader and his struggles to bring back Padme from the dead, which he tries to do for 20 years. Pretty much since the prequel trilogy, since she died till when he dies, he's trying to bring Padme back to life in many different ways. But also, his struggle with Palpatine. We could see the struggle of Vader from the perspective of Hayden under the mask, seeing him in the bacta tank, seeing him just embody the character of Vader in a way we've never seen before, seeing Vader still trying to bring his wife back to life, seeing that glimmer of light in Vader, even though it's still the dark side. Having that connection to his former, his wife, his now dead wife, and his connection to her, and that's what eventually leads to still him coming back to the light at the end because he sees his wife and his kids. So there's always the possibility of seeing a Vader show or a Vader-centric project, we'll put it that way. But Vader can show up in anything, and he has. Vader's in the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, he's in Star Wars. What's today's date? Never mind. He's in a lot of things. He's in Rebels. He's in the comics. He's in novels. He's in the original trilogy. He's in everything. He's in everything. And there's possibility to see him even more. Now, there's one crazy, absolutely crazy idea. And this kind of coincides with live-action Clone Wars. Because in the Clone Wars, there was this arc that introduced the Mortis gods. Ever heard of them? The Mortis gods, the living embodiment of the light side is the daughter, the living embodiment of the dark side is the son, and the living embodiment of the balance between the two is the father. And in this Clone Wars arc, we learn that Anakin Skywalker's goal is to be the balance between them, to take the role as the father and control the Force. Now, some fans believe that since Anakin has now died in the Star Wars timeline, that he has taken that role, and he has become the balance between the two. But could we get a live-action Clone Wars-esque series where we do get to see Hayden Christensen as Anakin in the afterlife? Maybe on Mortis, maybe not. But with Ahsoka Tano, with all these different characters that he's involved with. Maybe even Obi-Wan appears as a Force ghost or in live action, even because it's Mortis, and who knows what the living and the dead is like there. That's where we saw Qui-Gon's Force ghost for the first time, or at least heard it. But that could be another live action project where Hayden Christensen could play the character of Anakin and or Vader. So let me put up a new poll in the chat, shall we? As this poll is still at 83% of you guys. That's crazy. Or 82. I guess the math is not mathing. But 82% of you guys still want a Kenobi Season 2, which is crazy. Let's put this one up. Do you want a Vader show/movie? So all about Darth Vader and his struggles with being the robotic man, with being the guy who fell to the dark side in a tragic way, losing his wife, getting guaranteed the ability to save his wife from his master, being controlled by his master his entire life because of the suit that he put him in. Would you want to see that? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. What do we think, chat? Because Hayden and Ewan, but Hayden clearly wants to do more with this character. Coming back reignited that flame in him to want to do more. Are you going to say no to that? Star Wars fans love seeing Vader. They love seeing Hayden. They love seeing Anakin. Why not? Why not is the question. It's a guaranteed success. Kinda. It's pretty much a guaranteed success when you think about it, because how can you go wrong? Get the best writers you got, best Vader people you got on the project, How could you go wrong? Because of James Earl Jones. Okay. That's a good point. James Earl Jones just sadly passed away to start this week off. But here's the thing. James Earl Jones, years ago, I believe 2 or 3 years ago now, signed the rights of his voice and is to recreate his voice over to Lucasfilm. So that is not a problem. Actually, his Vader's, also known as Han Solo, Vader's voice in the Kenobi series is not James Earl Jones. Well, it is, but it isn't. It's computer generated. That is not the last time we'll be seeing Vader, that's for sure. What did Darth Vader say to the Empire at a Star Wars auction? What is thy bidding, my master? That was a horrible joke. Just kidding. No worries. Yeah. Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi, the high ground, the limb slicer. Holy name. Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi, the high ground, the limb slicer. What a great name, says. A season 2 of me would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? It would be pretty cool. John says, sorry, I had to go let my dogs out. Don't worry about it. I just want to say before this ends, it won't be ending anytime soon. I mean this from the heart. I'm so glad that I found this community today. You're all so awesome. Well, John, I appreciate that quite a bit, and we're very happy that you are here. Yeah. My life is practically a Darth Vader show. He is my Padawan after all. That's true, Obi-Wan. That is true. A Vader show with him hunting down surviving Jedi. Yeah, well, you could really have him doing anything. You could have him doing that. You could also have him trying to recreate or bring Padme back to life. You could have him trying to maybe hunt down Maul. You could really have him doing anything because Vader does so much over the 20 some odd years in between the prequels and the originals. Yeah. Amanda says, I wouldn't mind the Knights of Ren or even Ben Solo's storyline instead. We've seen Vader descend into evil and his redemption, in my opinion. That is also true. We have gotten a lot of Darth Vader's story already told. The only difference with that, and I would love to see more of Kylo Ren's fall, would be the difference there is Adam Driver's not publicly saying that he wants to come back to Star Wars. Hayden Christensen is. So you have the ability to access this big time character because the actor wants to come back. And fans want him back badly. Mystic Troll says, here's a thought. Will the Dawn of the Jedi movie reveal the very first Glub Shido? Yeah, it will. For sure. Yes, it will. Absolutely. I don't know. Still new stories, not old characters. That's my vibe. Like, I wouldn't hate it, but I wasn't excited for the Kenobi show in the first place. Yeah, I get that. I get wanting new stories. I get wanting to lead the Skywalker saga. I do too. But if they announced a Vader show, I'd be pretty down for that. Not going to lie. I'd be pretty down for that. What I miss? Quite a bit, I'm sure. All right, let's talk about, shall we? Let's get to this, okay? Let's talk about Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Give me a 1 into the chat if you saw this show. It released yesterday. Give me a 1 into the chat if you watched this show. 4-part event. Did you watch this? Star Wars What If? Darth Jar Jar. Did you watch this show? And while you're at it, chat, can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bumper! That's a lot of ones. So funny. It was very funny. It was very funny. I will give it that. I mean, it starts off as the main character, Sig, who's voiced by the kid from Stranger Things. He's a nerf herder. Literally. He herds nerfs. So nerf herder has been a funny sort of insult in Star Wars for quite some time. But he's literally a nerf herder. So we're going to break this down a little bit. We'll go through it really, really quickly. All 4 episodes. We'll do it really fast. for those of you who didn't watch it or if you did watch it, but there's a lot of funny stuff going on in this show, and it's set up seeing a second season of this, or a second part of it. But if you haven't seen it yet, I will say it's a lot of fun. It's a sort of another stretch. Like if you don't like animation, it's hard to like the Lego animation, but it is fun and funny. So let's take a look at this. So it starts off with our character. This is our main character here, Sig. We're just going to go through it clip by clip almost. He starts off as a Nerf herder. Oh, hang on. He's telling the story of the Star Wars galaxy, which is the entire story. Now, this is his brother, Dev, who eventually becomes the villain. But they are Nerf herders herding Nerfs. Those are the Nerfs over there. They're herding them. And they come upon a Jedi temple. Hang on. They accidentally fall down here and come across a Jedi temple. This is where we learn that our boy Sig, our main character, has the Force. He comes across this thing called the Cornerstone, if I can find it, right there. Oh, well. Whoa. Hang on, go back. He comes across this thing called the Cornerstone. That's Jedi Bob, by the way. We'll get to him. This is the Cornerstone. He pulls it out of this Jedi temple that he finds, and it turns the entire Star Wars galaxy on its head, changing the bad guys to good guys to bad guys, like everything all over the place. So now Palpatine's a Jedi, Vader's a Jedi, Jabba the Hutt's a Jedi, Cad Bane's a Jedi, Count Dooku's a Jedi. The Sith are Darth Jar Jar, Darth Rose Tico, Darth Rey, Darth his brother Darth Devastator. And it's this whole world that's completely different. You got Ewok bounty hunters. C-3PO's evil and a bounty hunter, one of the best in the galaxy. Luke Skywalker is a pod racer on Tatooine, but Tatooine's not even a desert anymore. And he's sort of just like a surfer dude type deal. It's just fun. We'll put it that way. It's just fun. So the first episode just has him find the Jedi Temple. You learn who the characters are. They come into this new world where the clones are all Admiral Akbar or all Mon Calamari. And they all just say it's a trap over and over again. So they get captured by the evil empire, run by his brother, Darth Dev, or Darth Devastator. And that's the whole first episode. Then it goes to the second episode, where we meet Luke Skywalker. We meet Darth Rey, actually. So let's meet Darth Rey right there. Boom. Darth Rey. We meet Jedi Bob, of course. Jedi Bob is a goat. He's been around for a long, long time. What's a Nerf? A Nerf is just like a beast. It's almost like a bull or a cow-like type deal. You know? Darth Nubs. Yes, Darth Nubs was in there too. That's true. Yeah. So Jedi Bob comes into he's hilarious. He's voiced by a guy, I forget his name, but yeah. Then you got Ewok bounty hunters right there. They get hunted down by Ewok bounty hunters. They get hunted down by evil C-3PO. If they show him. There he is. Evil C-3PO. He's hunted them down. They eventually make their way to Tatooine, where we got Max Rebo pod racing versus Luke Skywalker. And Luke Skywalker uses the Force to win the pod race. So he's hijacking a pod race with the Force. They ask him for his help. He's like, no, I don't do that stuff. They go to the cantina. It's a different cantina, but it's the same. And then they get confronted by Darth Rey and the clone Admiral Akbar's. Just describing this is hilarious, but it is funny. And that's where the all-black Millennium Falcon comes into the play, and we get introduced to Darth Rose, Darth Nubs, Darth Kit Fisto, Darth Hammerhead, literally says I don't remember your name, a Darth Jawa behind him too, but more importantly, Darth Jar Jar. So Darth Jar Jar has been, he's been a serious, like deadly serious fan theory for quite some time. I'm deadly serious. There's some fans out there that truly believe that Jar Jar in the prequel trilogy is secretly a Sith Lord, which is really funny because they make fun of it in the Clone Wars animated show, and now they're clearly making fun of it here with a true Darth Jar Jar. In this alternate reality, Jar Jar is a Sith Lord. And Ahmed Best actually came back to voice the character, which is pretty awesome too. So that's pretty cool. We get introduced to Darth Jar Jar. There's the whole falling out there. He almost gets the cornerstone. Episode 3, we get to see them run away from Darth Jar Jar and the other Sith Lords. That's where they go to find the Jedi. And the Jedi they find is Jedi Palpatine, Jedi Vader, Jedi Jabba the Hutt, all these others, Jedi Cad Bane, Jabba the Hutt there. They tell him the cornerstone, blah, blah, blah. Leia comes into play. We get a Lando. Whoops. That's a Lando, Darth Maul over there. Han Solo comes, but instead of Han Solo and Leia together, Leia's with Greedo. Pretty weird world we're living in. Greedo and Han work together in this, and Greedo's dressed as Han. They go to Dagobah, which is completely different. We learn about the Jedi Bob's backstory. 4th episode is the final one, and that's where we get this final showdown between brothers Sig and Darth Dev there. And yeah, Darth Jar Jar dies. Final awesome showdown. Cool epic battle in space. And the big thing at the end was this epic reveal. The possibility of there being more of this. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it, of course, because we can't show the entire thing, but this is pretty damn cool. Darth Rey and Darth Rose go to ask for someone's help. And this leaves us on a cliffhanger. And that is... Hang on. I gotta sneeze. Damn it. Whew, that was a crazy sneeze. Okay. Oh my God. I gotta sneeze again? Holy crap.
Hello there.
General Kenobi!
Oh my God, chat. That was crazy. I just got hit with a sneeze attack. Holy shit. Hang on.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Where was I? Oh, that's right. The Landalorian. So it's the Mandalorian, but it's Lando Calrissian. And of course, Jesus Christ, that was just, oh my God. And of course, Grogu. Seems like an evil version of Grogu, honestly. Let's rewind it a little bit here. Seems like an evil version of Grogu from the looks of it. But there's Grogu too. So there's promise of more. Jeez, that was a crazy... I sneezed 4 times in a row. That's never happened. Usually it's just 2 for me. But that is Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Now, if you watched it, rank it out of 10 in the chat. What did you think of that show? For me, it was probably like it was a surprise to be sure. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. And it's not like an 8 out of 10 like a episode of The Acolyte would be an 8 out of 10. It's completely different because it's not canon, first of all. It's a what if, it's a Lego Star Wars, but it's fun. It's just a fun time. It's funny. But what would you rank it out of 10? What would you rank it out of 10? Damn, chat. Holy crap. That was a crazy sneeze fest I just had. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Starship. I appreciate it. No Darth Chewbacca? Boycott, 0 out of 10. Oh, my. COVID? No. No Darth Chewbacca, no. Chewbacca actually wasn't in it at all, was he? No, he wasn't. Interesting. 10 out of 10 because purely it was a what if and welcome break just to laugh my socks off. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, what if in Star Wars is really hard to do because it can't be canon, obviously. So this was the way to do it with Lego Star Wars. It was cool. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8.5, a million out of 10. That's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome. Glad you guys liked it. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, the Landalorian. So there's probably going to be more of those because it was done very well. I think fans really enjoyed it. What if in Star Wars? We want to see more of that. So, yeah, I'm sure there'll be a second season for sure. For sure. I mean, if it's a what if / alternate timeline, Chewbacca likely got killed during Order 66. Maybe. Jeremy, what's up, says we need to do it impression. You know, I only do impressions for super chats, but just for you, I will. Okay. Okay. Let me channel my inner Palpatine here. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. Do it. That wasn't too bad. Do it. Do it. That's pretty good. Okay, I appreciate it, Jeremy. Okay, where was I? Oh, what ifs. Yeah, let's talk about what ifs, shall we? Let me give you guys a sneak peek, since you guys are so gracefully all here and watching still after about an hour and whatever we're at now. Let me show you guys something, a sneak peek at behind the scenes here, shall we? I am working on something. Let's show you guys this. I'm working on something, aren't I? Yeah, let's take a look at this. What? No, what? What are you doing? What are you doing? Open up the thing I want you to open up. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Just giving you a sneak peek at something behind the scenes, chat, okay? Okay? All right, that's enough. No. All right, let's take a look at it. So, on this channel, a long time ago, we did do some what ifs. Yeah. It was before we probably even had 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which is crazy. But we're coming back. We are coming back. And we're coming back with a bang. The last couple days I've been writing a script for this what if. And we'll leave it at that. This will, of course, be the thumbnail for it. Any guesses as to what this story may be? The script is already like 6 pages long. It's already cruising. We're hopefully sometime within the next couple weeks this will be out, but we'll see. It depends on how much time I get to do it, you know? Any guesses on what this could be? This is by far the best thumbnail I've ever made, by the way. I used a new tactic with all this stuff and whatever. But I'm excited. We'll put it that way. I'm excited. We're going to be doing some cool what ifs over here on the channel for sure. No, not for sure. 5 sure. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I hold up a can of Mountain Dew. I sadly don't have Mountain Dew anywhere near me, so. Yeah. So that's the deal with that, okay? All right. We do have some actually Lando news, which is pretty cool. We have some Lando movie news, which we haven't heard from in a long time. It's come from Donald Glover himself, actually. So let's take a gander at this, shall we? Shall we, chat? And then we're gonna do some call-ins, actually. So let me open up that call-in portion of the Discord. So if you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. And on that Discord, we're gonna open up a stage called Call-ins, and you can go in there and raise your hand, and then I will call on you to talk about Star Wars stuff. So you can come on live. So let's do that. But I just opened up that stage on the Discord, and we're going to read this article first. So, Star Wars, Donald Glover teases wanting to bring the fun back to the saga with Lando. So bringing the fun back to Star Wars. Although the history of the Star Wars franchise, throughout the history of the Star Wars franchise, fans have been given a variety of stories that explore multiple attempts by fascist groups called Hang on, my brain just broke there. I was not reading that correctly. I'm completely in a fog right now. Okay. It has explored multiple attempts by fascist groups to oppress the entirety of the galaxy, talking about the Empire, the First Order, and such, and what have you. as well as the forces that band together to fight back against those regimes. This comes to an inherent with an inherent intensity. So, one thing that Donald Glover hopes to bring back to the franchise with the upcoming Star Wars Lando movie is the sense of fun and adventure that counteracts the heavy elements of the Skywalker saga. Donald Glover himself is currently set to develop a movie featuring Lando, though that project doesn't have a confirmed release date. During a recent conversation with the Wall Street Journal, when asked what Donald Glover wanted to accomplish with Lando, Glover expressed, "I just want it to be fun. As a Star Wars fan myself, I think it's important that just needs to be more fun being had. It's very hard to have fun right now. It's tough because there's a very serious thing happening, and those are the only things that connect us, weirdly. So I get why things are so serious. But a part of the human experience, I believe, is we have we have a responsibility to have enjoyment. And I just feel like we are lacking in that department, not only in real life, but in Star Wars as well." He's got a point here. The real-life world we live in is very serious, and Star Wars is supposed to be an escape from that. That's what we sort of preach around here, for lack of a better word. Around this channel is escaping the real-world troubles, anxieties, real-world problems, and escaping to Star Wars, escaping to a fun place, a galaxy far, far away. But sometimes in that galaxy far, far away, there's the same problems. The Empire, the First Order, all that stuff. But what Donald Glover wants to achieve with this Lando movie is just fun. Fun, action, adventure. And that's kind of what the Solo movie was to an extent. That's kind of what Rebels is to an extent. But there, of course, is the Empire there as well. But we have had zero updates when it comes to this Lando movie in a long time. And now Donald Glover has given us one, which is pretty cool. As he continues, "Star Wars, I love it, but sometimes it can be super serious. Sometimes it is way too serious. Everything that has to do with the Skywalkers is so serious. Lando, I think, is the best part, and the best part about him is that he is a scoundrel, and I feel like people can relate to that. He's probably like, man, this war is whack, I need some money, which I feel that everyone can relate to, so it can just be a lot of fun. And that's always kind of what Lando has been. Lando's been that scoundrel that's sort of just been a fun character. We're talking about how serious the Star Wars universe is when we were just talking about Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, which isn't really a good sort of comparison there. But yes, Star Wars does need a lot of fun. With that being said, he makes his appearance in Solo, A Star Wars Story, blah, blah, blah. It was announced as a mini-series at first in 2020, but now it has been changed to a movie, and now Donald Glover himself will be writing it. But again, there's been very little to no updates, except for this one. So Donald Glover gives us the first update on Lando, and that he wants it to be a fun action adventure in the Star Wars universe, which would be fan-frickin-tastic. That would be awesome. I'd be fully down for that. But tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for a Lando show? Movie. Lando movie. The Lando movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the Lando movie? Because if I'm being honest, I'm not that excited. It's always been a project that was announced. It's been announced for 4 years now. It's always been a project since when it was announced. It wasn't on the top of my radar at all. There's been so many other projects before it that have just been that much more exciting to me. But it's still going to come out, most likely, with Donald Glover at the helm and his brother as well, Stephen Glover. Where would you rank this at? A 5? A 6? 6.75? 5? 6? That's probably where I'm at too. I'm right in the middle. Until we get a trailer or any announcement about what this is actually going to be about, there's really nothing to galvanize behind, and fans seem to be all sort of consistent with that, you know? Pre-dead L6 or post? Pre-dead L6? Oh, L6, the droid. I was like, what the hell does L6 mean? I don't know. Again, I have no clue. I don't know when this movie will take place in the timeline. I have no clue. No clue at all. None. Okay, let me go check out that Discord thing. So here's the deal. You just got to raise your hand, and I can call on you. So I was not paying attention to it at all before this. So if you want to do call-ins now, go into that portion in the Discord, and raise your hand, and then I can bring you on in and we can do some call-ins. We'll do a few of them just so we can get you guys' opinion on the whole Clone Wars live action stuff, on the whole Rebuild the Galaxy stuff, and of course on Star Wars in general. Yeah. 90 minutes from the start and I'm still here and I'm here for it. Hey, I'm still here too. Shocker. Yeah. Oh, what the heck? Okay. Ooh, Mike, I'm excited for your what ifs. Me too. I'm excited as well. I'm very, very excited. Star Wars has always held up a mirror to real life. Going back to 1977, they've always been really subtle about it. Yes and no. I like that Star Wars is an escape from our reality, but yes, there's stories and lessons that people can learn for the real world that are in Star Wars. But it is still supposed to be an escape, you know? -1 billion for Lando? That's crazy. Lando could meet with Maz Kanata or other bounty hunters. Yeah, it's the underworld of Star Wars, which is such an intriguing aspect of Star Wars. That's why Star Wars Outlaws to me was so fun, because it's the underworld of Star Wars, which I want to live in, first of all, but it's just a fun part of the Star Wars universe. So where there's Lando, there's bounty hunters, there's the underworld, there's smugglers, there's Han Solo, there's the Crimson Dawn, there's all this other stuff going on. You could have the Hutts, you could have anything you want, really, any story you want. And it'd be really cool. Yeah. It could even involve L6 dying. There you go. There's my death prediction of the stream. L6 dies in the Lando movie. Oh, hang on. John, we're going to get John in here. John, what is up?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Is your name
I'm
John?
doing
Because
quite
your name
well
on
since
here
I
is
found this
Iggy
community
Stardust.
About 90 minutes ago or so.
That is pretty awesome. This might be the quickest call-in of all time, from becoming a subscriber to a call-in in the same stream.
Well, like I tried to say earlier, pardon me. I was 10 years old in 1977
Yeah.
when Star Wars hit theaters, and I've been a fan ever since. I had all the toys as a kid.
That is awesome.
Into the late 90s when I opted to sell a bunch of them, which turned out to be a huge mistake, but they'd been
Huge
not so
mistake.
gently loved, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you the first question. Do you want
Sure.
a live-action Clone Wars season or series or whatever you want to call it? Do you want to see the Clone Wars in live action?
I do, with mostly new stories, but I'd be happy with a couple of flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, let's see. Ahsoka did it in a cool way where it's not the entire show is live-action Clone Wars.
Right.
It's just a portion
even
of it.
even if they went like with the way the Acolyte was, where they had like one episode to focus on it, as long as it was very relevant, yeah, I'd be down for it.
Yeah, that is
By the
interesting.
way, I love the Acolyte.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Glad to hear that, first of all. But yeah, so I mean, live action Clone Wars is not out of the possibility realm, because it could show up pretty much at any time. Ahsoka season 2 is probably going to involve more flashbacks to the Clone Wars, and I hope so. I really hope it does.
Yeah. Same.
Let me ask you, Kenobi season 2. First of all, what are your thoughts on Kenobi season 1, and do you want a second season?
I loved Kenobi season 1.
Really?
Absolutely loved it. And I'd be down for a season 2 as long as they get the story right. You shush.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got a young puppy.
Don't worry about it.
He
That's
barks
awesome.
and everything.
What's his name?
His name is Bray, after Bray Wyatt, the pro wrestler that died last year.
That's awesome. What kind of dog is it?
He's a Pekingese. He was a gift from my sister.
That's so cool. Okay. Back on topic. Okay. No.
Yeah, back on topic.
Shit, I don't even remember what
And
you just
by
said.
the
Oh,
way,
Kenobi.
it's lovely meeting you, Mike. You and the rest of the community. I'm really appreciating this.
Hey, well, we literally have the most welcoming community of all time, so we're happy to have you. So Kenobi season 1, yes, you liked it quite a bit. That's awesome. I love the finale of Kenobi.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. But like you just said for season 2, it needs to be the right story, because you can't really have Vader fight Obi-Wan again because they don't really meet till A New Hope. So it has to be the right story for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was you that suggested maybe he had gone to Dagobah for.
Yeah, I would love to take credit for that. Somebody, I believe it was your pal Joe, actually, in the chat, if he's in here today. I don't know. But he came up with that last stream. Last stream, we spitballed a ton of different ideas for Kenobi Season 2 on Thursday's live stream. But, yeah. One more thing. Did you watch?
I mean, if it was like like Obi-Wan entering the cave on Dagobah and that being like a Force vision, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for it. I can see that.
Yeah. And last thing before we get you on out of here and get somebody else in, did you watch Rebuild the Galaxy?
I have not, but I'm going to because I hadn't even heard of it until this chat.
Yeah, so it went under the radar a little bit because it's just a Lego Star Wars thing, but it came out yesterday, so you're not really that far behind.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a fun little watch there for you. So
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Well, I appreciate it.
At first I thought it was a game, but
yeah,
I kind of caught the gist that it's like a show or something.
Every time I'm
definitely going to check it out.
Yeah,
later today.
Awesome. Every time I talked about it, everybody was like, "What the hell is it? Is it a movie? Is it a show? Is it a game?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a show." So I appreciate it. All right, we're gonna get you on out of here. We'll get somebody else in.
All right, thank you for having me again.
Thank you for being here. All right, let's get you on out of here. And then if anybody else wants to call in, just raise your hand and we'll get you on in here. That was awesome, John. I appreciate it, and welcome to the community. Of course, that is the fastest ever sort of subscriber to Discorder to call inner of all time. So I appreciate it. Yeah, that's awesome. And hope your dog is cute. I'm sure it is. Okay. Didn't Luke's hand fall and was found still holding the saber? Was it still holding the saber? I don't know, but his hand was found and taken by Palpatine to Exegol. And his lightsaber was found and eventually ended up with Maz Kanata. So, yeah, if that answers your question. Yeah. It's nice to hear from people who grew up on the OT who also enjoy the new content. The two don't seem to be at odds. Yeah, I mean, I think because of just the negativity being so prevalent in the Star Wars fandom, online, I should say, in comment sections online, it seems as though it almost feels like the OG fans of Star Wars, the people who love the prequels, who love the originals, don't like the new content, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's just sort of the more minority yelling louder than the rest of them, you know? Yeah, no? Yeah, no? Yeah. All right, so if anybody else wants to do a call in, we will leave that open for now. So just raise your hand in that thing. And let's take a gander at this. By the way, this poll is still at 80% of you guys do want a Vader show, which is pretty cool. Cornerstone Worship Tutorials. What's up, Cornerstone? How we doing? How we doing? All right, let's do this, shall we? Wait, what happened in the... Oh, I just had that open. Duh. Okay, let me leave that there so I don't miss it if somebody... Oh, let's get iHog in here. Let's get it in here. iHog, what's up? Hello there.
Hello there.
You got a dog too.
I have my dog's a bigger dog though. It's a Great Dane. He's called Darth Magnus.
Okay, don't take offense to this at all, but I'm gonna try and guess where your accent is from. Okay.
Yep. Go ahead. Do your best. Magnus, just relax. It's me. I'm talking to the computer. Sorry,
Shit.
My dog's freaking out.
That's all right. Magnus, it's okay because I'm gonna guess where you're from. Okay.
Go on.
This is tough. I'm really bad at this. Is it in the European area?
It sure is.
Let's go. Okay. Is it in an island of a European area?
It's close to Ireland.
No, an island.
Well.
An island.
No, it's not. I'm not in Ireland, but I'm close to Ireland.
Okay.
That helps your European geography.
I said island. ISLAND.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
you're good. My accent's
the flu
probably
is strong with you this evening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's close to Ireland. That's a great hint. I'm going to guess final answer. Final answer.
Uh-huh.
The UK.
That's the one. Yeah.
Let's
I'm
go.
actually, I'm English, but I live in Scotland. I've lived in Scotland for 15 years now. So
There you go. That's awesome. Okay. Well, first things first. Let's talk about Star Wars, I guess. Do you want a live action Clone Wars show?
No. I'm more of a fan of the flashbacks, like they did in Ahsoka and stuff like that. I think the Clone Wars animation stories has covered a lot of it. I like the idea of flashbacks and stuff like that. I don't want it to be rehashed. I want to remake new stuff as opposed to rehash.
Okay, so I know this took me like a million times. I fully just listened to what you said. Don't worry about that. It just took me a million years to figure out how to pronounce your name. It is I Hodga, right?
No.
Son of a bitch.
I've been called worse.
That's all right.
It's I Hodja.
I Hodja. Got it. Okay. I Hodja. Yes. I got to tell you one thing and one thing only. You should be reading audiobooks. I could listen to your voice for days.
Oh, I say, very nice. Well, that's a compliment I've not had before.
I'm dead serious.
Maybe
it's a great voice.
Doing that.
You should. Okay. If I ever write a book, I'm gonna have you read it. Okay. But going back to what we were saying, I completely agree. Obviously, Clone Wars should be in live action. We should get to see eventually at some point Obi-Wan in his iconic Clone Wars armor. But it should be in a flashback.
Definitely.
It shouldn't be in its own show of just rehashing stories we've already seen.
Yes, for sure. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Now, did you watch Rebuild the Galaxy?
I did. I watched it yesterday. I was working all day, so I had to avoid social media because I didn't want any spoilers at all.
Yeah, that's
as
the worst.
As soon as I finished work, me and Magnus sat down on the sofa and watched it, and I proper belly laughed at all the nerdy references,
That's
awesome. The one-liners. I really loved at the start when Sig was retelling the story of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then he was talking about in Return of the Jedi, and he said it was with the Wookiees, and he was like, oh, no, it was the Ewoks.
The Ewoks, yeah.
That really made me chuckle because it was initially supposed to be Wookiees.
Yeah.
Then obviously George went down the teddy bear route.
There was a lot of references like that, and they actually made fun of themselves time and time again in that. It was really cool.
Yeah, and for me as well, just like John, the last person you that joined your chat just now, I'm an original boy as well. I was 5 in 1977. So kind of, I know all of these stories and all the references, from being a kid. So I was literally just howling with laughter at certain points.
Yeah.
And Leia and Greedo, I was like, oh my God.
That's
imagine
awesome.
the kids.
Imagine. Yeah, that's awesome. The show has so many like one-liners. I can't even think of them off the top of my head, but like, of course, the Nerf hurt us and stuff. It's awesome. But let's talk about. Hang on. Whoa. Let's talk about something else, shall we? What I didn't ask John, and let's talk about the upcoming Star Wars projects. How about the fact that Skeleton Crew comes out in about 2 months, 3 months, and there's not a single talk about this show at all? Are you excited for Skeleton Crew? Yes or no? What do we think?
Personally, I am very much so. Jude Law is a great actor. He's got loads of, he's a very talented guy.
Yeah, he is.
And for me, I think seeing a Star Wars story from a child's perspective as opposed to adults, so being child-centric and their kind of how they perceive the galaxy, and also, it's really dangerous, and even if you're a Sith, it's a bit dodgy. But these young kids just all of a sudden just getting jettisoned into who knows where. I'm really looking forward to that, and also the Mandoverse tie-ins. How it's all going to link in, and because Filoni's very good at knitting stories together from different series and then pulling them all together. So I'm really hyped for that. And Neil Fields, man. Neil looks like a great little boy. He looks great.
You gotta love Neil. I'm excited for Skeleton Crew, but it's just so weird that there's just almost no conversation being had about it. So many people are talking about Andor Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, Mandalorian and Grogu movie, rightfully so, because those already are established sort of franchises and stuff. But Skeleton Crew's just riding under the radar, and I got a feeling, I don't know why, but I got a weird feeling that it's going to be something very special that we just don't expect. Like, we don't know what's coming in the show, and that's kind of what excites me, you know?
Yeah, and also the fact that it's going to be around about Christmas time as well.
Exactly.
And, I think that's something that's I think it's going to be one of the. I think with the fallout of the Acolyte and stuff like that, I think people are a bit kind of like, oh, yeah, let's just have a rest for a while, and Andor's already established, Ahsoka's already established, so this is new territory, and unfortunately, there's quite a few too many Star Wars fans as opposed to Star Wars fans out there, and but I'm just really hyped for it, and I think once it starts, and also I like the release of Star Wars things at Christmas. I loved it when when the films come out at Christmas time and stuff like that. They should have stuck to that, like with Solo and stuff like that.
That was good.
Great time, and it's a big present for all of us, so. Yeah, I'm really hyped for it.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, with that, I'm going to get you on out of here. I appreciate it.
No worries. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you as well. All right, let's get him on out of here. We'll maybe do one, maybe two more. One or maybe two more, so just raise your hand in there too. And going back off of what he was just talking about, it seems as though, like, obviously Skeleton Crew is going to be, I'm excited for it, but it seems as though fans are more focused on what we already know or hope is going to be good. And, of course, the conversation in the Star Wars fandom over the last couple of weeks and months even has been a pretty negative one because of the Acolyte. But, yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Darth Raccoon just keeps popping in and out of this thing. I don't know what. Right, you wanted to do a call-in, Darth Raccoon. It was you. It was you! I love doing the call-ins. Call-ins are so much fun. I like putting a voice to the name. See, now every time I read I already forget his name. Hodga? Is it Hodga? I don't even know anymore. But every time I read his chats, I'm going to read him in a Scottish accent, obviously. I can't do a Scottish accent, but I'm going to, in my head, I'm going to, Scottish accent. I Hodja. That's what I said. No? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know anymore. You guys know I'm the greatest at doing that, Now my Star Wars side wants to, but my introvert side doesn't. Don't worry about it, Darth Raccoon. We'll just all stare at you and watch as you fail miserably live. No, I'm kidding. Well, obviously it doesn't. This is a safe space. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, let's nobody understood my reference earlier. It was from The Office. Ever heard of it? Give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen The Office. Jim, Pam, Michael, Dwight. Nobody understood my reference earlier. I was saying, I don't even remember what I was saying, honestly. But I was saying it, You didn't get it? See, you all watched it, but you didn't understand my reference. Favorite show? There you go. It's probably one of my favorite shows, too. It's my favorite comedy show, hands down. The reference, I don't even remember what my reference was. Oh, I was saying a loser. Too far. It's the episode where Michael Scott falls in a koi pond. And then Jim's like, you just got to make fun of yourself. And everybody, because everybody was making fun of him for falling into a koi pond. He's like, you just got to make fun of yourself and they'll stop making fun of you. So he starts making fun of himself. And then he makes fun of himself too much. He starts crying. He starts going, I'm just a loser. Too far. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for the advice. The British Office. I've seen The British Office too. It's only one season though. Or is it? No, I think it's only one season. All right. On that note, by the way, 80% of you guys still want a Vader show, which is pretty cool. All right. If nobody wants to do a call-in, because Darth Raccoon is too scared. Just kidding. I appreciate it. I'm going to end that call-in panel there, and maybe we'll get you next time. Mr. Show is my favorite comedy. I've never even heard of Mr. Show. Never even heard of it. But on that note, I am going to have to get on out of here. So yeah, maybe, just maybe, we'll be seeing some more live-action Clone Wars content in the Star Wars universe with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor reprising their roles as Vader and Obi-Wan, or Anakin and Obi-Wan. But if not Clone Wars in live action, maybe somewhere else, as Force Ghosts in Ahsoka, as Force Ghosts in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or in any movie in that time period, or in a Kenobi Season 2. I appreciate all you guys so much more than you will ever know. Smash a freaking like on this stream if you have not yet. Do it now. And hit that subscribe so that you get notified, and that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. I'll show up the recommended feed of yours. You guys are the best. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you guys. Let me hang on. Let me do this. Huge shout outs to John for the very generous for the call in, of course, and Haja. I hope that was right. For the call in as well. Huge shout outs to Sonny for the very generous super chat. Tony, James, and Darth Plagueis for the very generous super chats as well. I appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and may the Force be with you always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every last one of you so much more than you will ever know. Darth Raccoon says, my English is terrible, to be honest. I don't care. Are you kidding me? I could have listened to Haja talk for like 20 years. His voice was so awesome. I don't even care if you don't even speak English at all. It'll be entertaining. I want to know what you want to tell me. You know? But I appreciate all you guys so much more than you will ever know. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody. If you spoke in German, that would be hilarious, because I wouldn't know anything that you were going to tell me, and it would be so funny. Good night, everybody.